Welcome to the video tutorial on how to configure PageGate to deliver faxes through a network-available Microsoft Fax server. Before we begin, the Microsoft Fax server must be installed and configured to accept faxes. For more information on how to do that, please see the Microsoft documentation. There are a few important things we'll need to go over as well. First, you will need to have a service account for PageGate to use in conjunction with the Microsoft Fax server. If you do not already have a Windows user account that PageGate can use for this purpose, please create one and grant it the Log On as a Service policy. Second, Microsoft Fax servers can only be shared from a server-based operating system such as Server 2003, 2008, 2012, and 2016. According to Microsoft's documentation, you cannot share a fax on a workstation-based operating system such as Windows 7, 8, or 10. Before doing anything on the PageGate server, there's a bit of configuration you'll need to go through on the server running the Microsoft Fax server. After logging into the server as an administrative account, open Devices and Printers in Windows. Right-click on the appropriate fax device and select Printer Properties. Go into the Sharing tab. Click Change Sharing Options. Put a check in Share this printer. Give the fax a share name. If you want the formatting of faxes to be controlled by the PageGate system, leave Render Print Jobs on Client Computers checked. Go under the Security tab and click Add. Add the user you are going to use for the PageGate services. There's also a bit of standardization with the user account and username that PageGate uses on its own system that will need to be done since it will need to match the name of the fax service account. After configuring the domain or local user account for PageGate to use, we must next identify that account as a fax account. To do so, run the Fax Service Manager. On the left-hand side, select Accounts. Right-click in the available space, mouse over New, and select Account. Make sure the specified account precisely and exactly matches the service account the PageGate services will be using. Now that we've configured the Microsoft Fax server, we'll need to configure the PageGate server to reference it. To do that, log into the PageGate server as the service account you're going to be using. This is very important as there are elements of the Microsoft Fax server configuration that require you to be logged in with the account configured in the Fax server security. In a Windows Explorer, browse the network for the server hosting the Microsoft Fax server. In the list of folders and items under that server, you should see the fax share that you created earlier. Right-click on this and select Connect. If prompted for credentials, please provide them. This should also install the necessary fax drivers required to use this interface locally on the PageGate server. Next, we want to open the Microsoft Fax Service Manager and go to Accounts on the left-hand side. Create a fax account that matches the Windows logon name of the PageGate account, which should also be the user account you're currently logged in with. Close the Fax Service Manager and open Windows Fax and Scan. Go to Tools, Fax Accounts, and select Add. Select Connect to a fax server on my network. Enter the UNC path to your existing Microsoft Fax server. When finished, click on Next. Enter a name or title for this connection. Click on Done, then click on Close. The last thing you'll need to do in Windows is go to the Services list. Find the PageGate services once you're there. You'll need to apply the username and password configured to access the Microsoft Fax server in the PageGate, PageGate Scheduler, and any PageGate connector services. To apply that username, right-click on each relevant service and go to Properties. Here in the Properties, go under the Log On tab. You'll want to select the This Account option and enter the username and password for PageGate to use. So now that we've told Windows how to connect to the network-available Microsoft Fax server, Here's how to tell PageGate how to use it. First, open the PageGate admin. Next, right-click on the Carriers section and select Add. Give the carrier a name, something simple like Network Fax. Set the protocol to Fax SRV. In the Server field, enter the UNC path to the Microsoft Fax server. For example, if the Microsoft Fax server is hosted on a machine named PGServer01, you would use / PGServer01. Click Apply. Now that we've told PageGate how to use the Microsoft Fax server, we'll need to tell it what fax machines to dial and how to format the transmitted faxes. To do that, right-click on Recipients and select Add. Give the recipient a name. Set the carrier to your faxing carrier. In the phone number field, enter the fax number you want to dial. When finished, click Apply. Now we'll want to format how the faxes are transmitted. To do that, go to the Recipient section, expand your faxing recipient, and go to Template. Here in the Text section, you can use all appropriate text and variables to format the fax as you want it to appear. For more information on how to configure templates in PageGate, please visit the PageGate documentation on our website, www.notepage.net. On the left-hand side, go to the Support section, and then check out the PageGate documentation. Alternatively, here in the PageGate admin, you can click on the Help section. That will open the documentation, and you can find the Templates section under the Admin section. Once you've finished entering your template, click Apply. This concludes the video tutorial on how to configure PageGate to deliver faxes with a network Microsoft Fax server. For more information, including how to configure the program to deliver faxes with a locally connected modem or a local Microsoft Fax server, please visit our website, www.notepage.net.